And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda commences tonight's satsang with the Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We begin with Mystic Song by Sri Swami Lalitananda, played and sung by Sri Swami Umananda and Rajneesh.
Our song tonight is based on a poem by Swamiji. It's called Somewhere. Someone plays the flute and sings a mystic song that comes sweeping over the mountains by lakes and forests, dancing on ocean waves, playing with shining stars. Somewhere, someone beyond the wheel of time is singing a sweet song, and in the early dawn, as I listen, I become one with the song. The world fades like the morning mist. I have become one. I am everywhere. We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is May the 7th, 2021, Friday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on the Tulsi Ramayana. This is series 2016, class number 249. And now Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Nilambujasyamalakomalangam Sita Samaropitavamabhagam Panau Maha Sayagacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, and he is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. Sri Ramcharitmanas in Aranyakand and the context at this stage, Sri Rama, Lakshmana and Sita, they are going towards deeper parts of the forest. They are heading for Panchavati. And on their way, they have to meet Sage Agastya. But even prior to Sage Agastya, they meet Sutikshana. The many steps have been taken already, but Sutikshana is Uttam aspirant. Uttam means the best type, most ideal. And his devotion to Rama is being highlighted. So in Aranyakand, in verse number 9, Sri Rama made a vow before all the saintly personalities when he saw a lot of skeletons lined up, destroyed by demons, all these allegorical. निशिचरहीन करहूँ मही भुज उठाई प्रणकीन सकल मुनिन के आश्रमनि जाई जाई सुखदीन. He made a vow that he will rid the earth of all demons. And he continued to delight sages and saints by his association. All that it implies simply that the Vedic statement, asatoma sadgamaya, all that is asat will be negated. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, all the dark forces will be destroyed. Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya, leading the soul from death to immortality. That's the subtle meaning behind Rama's vow. It's like the sun makes a vow that he will dispel all darkness and save all the reflected suns. Muni Agasti Kar Shishya Sujana Naam Suchi Tan Agati Bhagavana Man Krama Bachan Rama Pad Sevak Sapnehu An Bharosana Devak. This was a great enlightened devotee of Sage Agastya, Sutikshana. Literally means sharp intellect. Tikshana is sharp. How sharp? That which enables the soul to be in communion with God. So Sutikshna was that type of disciple, and he loved God. He was servant of Rama by his thought, word, and deed. And even in his dream, he has no fascination for any other god but thee, Rama. This point I have explained and will continue to explain untiringly, that devotion to God, when we use the word God, your mind goes through many stages. First stage, Sagun Sakar, God with form and divine attributes. Next stage, Sagun Nirakar. God has form, rather, God has divine attributes, not form. You have transcended the form of God, and your mind is soaring with divine attributes, glorious qualities of God. Even in human relations, first you wait to see a person come close to you. But once a person has come, now your communication is not based on the body of the person or his form, but what the person feels, what he thinks. So, subtle shift from external form to what dwells in that form. And next stage, Nirgun Nirakar. Even the support of form and spiritual attributes such as Sat Chit Ananda, Shivam Satyam Sundaram, all divine attributes, they go on helping your mind. But if you are highly advanced, you understand no matter whatever best attribute your mind can entertain, God is much beyond, because your understanding of that attribute is always limited. Mentally start entertaining the attribute, God is Ananda. What Ananda? Absolute bliss. But have you really understood what absolute bliss is? So therefore, a deeper level, even you go beyond your mental concept of divine attributes. So it's called Nirgun Nirakar. Without form and without attributes. And thereby, you are coming close to direct revelation of what God is. And that's why type of devotion Sutikshna had towards Rama. Rama to him meant all these: Sagun Sakar, Nirgun, Sagun Nirakar, Nirgun Nirakar. And especially Rama is absolute Brahman. That type of devotion Sutikshna had. Prabhu Agavanu Shavana Suni Pava Karat Manorat Atur Dhava He Vidhi Deen Bandhu Raguraya Mose Satapan Karihahi Daya. The moment he heard Rama is coming, he rushed towards Rama to meet with him. And said within himself, O Lord, will Rama shower his compassion on me who is a dushta? Literal meaning of dushta is wicked. But the idea behind it, saints and sages, they are endowed with absolute humility. And they are always intent on finding their own mistakes and correcting them. So, instead of turning the attention towards people, how stupid they are, how wicked they are, you go after your own negative qualities, because that's what most important point. Finding mistakes in others is of very little help to you. But when you find mistakes within yourselves and you strive to correct them by Godward movement, then that's the most constructive sadhana. Eight great qualities they define Shishta. Daya sarva bhuteshu, Shanti, if these eight virtues which I am going to describe are developing, then you are Shishta, then you are not wicked. What are those? Daya sarva bhuteshu, to have compassion towards all living beings. So in your deep level, your prayer should not be limited to yourself. Therefore the prayer like Sarve bhavantu sukhina, Sarve santu niramaya, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, Ma kashchid dukha bhag bhavet. May all be Sarve bhavantu sukhina, may all be happy. Sarve santu niramaya, may all be free of diseases, troubles. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, may all possess right type of understanding that will enable each one to discover I am one with God. That's goodwill. Those who are highly advanced, they do not calculate what type of goodwill should I direct to this person. Does he deserve mukti? Or does he, if he doesn't deserve, then why should you pray for mukti for him? I'm talking about the narrow-minded way of looking at things. Devotees, saintly people, they do not possess narrow-minded view. Everyone is essentially divine. And to that divine Swarup, everyone must be awakened. So the first virtue was Daya Sarva Bhuteshu. Next one is Kshantir. Kshanti means holding no grudge against anyone. And next virtue is Anasuya. Anasuya means not gossiping habit. Next virtue is Shauch, purity of body and mind. Next virtue is Anayas. Don't be always under stress, but let there be spontaneity in your personality. Develop Arjava, straightforwardness. Next virtue is Mangalam. If you are bringing harmony in your personality, just like if you have musical instrument and you create melody, then melody is a source of auspiciousness, for everyone gets delighted by it. So your personality should have that type of virtue. Akarpanya, the absence of miserliness. Aspriha, absence of greed. These are called Ashta Atma Gunas, 8 virtues, allowing the soul to shine. And if you are developing them, you are shisht. If you are opposed to them, you are dusht. So, Sutikshna looked within himself, am I dusht or shisht? But I am dusht. You always aware of your own imperfection. Sahit anuj mohi ram gosai, milhyahi nij sevak ki nai, more jhiye bhairose dridh nahi, bhagati virati na jnana man mahi. Rama is going to give his darshan along with his brother and Sita. And he will view me as his servant. What a great fortune. I can't believe it. My mind is devoid of devotion, dispassion, and wisdom. In reality, he is the ideal devotee, but he is not satisfied with his devotion. नहीं सत्संग जोग जप जागा, नहीं दृढ़ चरण कमल अनुरागा, एक बानी करुणा निधान की, सो प्रिय जाके गति न आन की. I am void of satsanga. All that he is saying, what he is void of. The message is an aspirant should practice those points. So he says, I'm void of satsanga. You may say, how can I be? I'm always go after satsanga. But real satsanga is to understand Siya Ram Mai Sab Jag Jani. The entire world is filled with Sita and Rama. Everything in the world should be a source of joy because God is everywhere. So, if you have that stage, you are in constant satsanga. Yog, I'm void of yog, means integral development. A personality where 4 yogas have become harmonized, like swaras of music. Japa, constant repetition, remembrance of God. All this I am lacking. And look at my great fortune that I am going to behold Rama. Neither do I have devotion to his lotus feet. But Rama is abode of compassion. When a person has no other support in the world, Rama becomes his complete support. This again, all these are highly allegorical and mystical. When you come to realize all this, all the names and forms are illusory, how can you be supported by them? When you have no support of names and forms, no support from body, mind, intellect, ego, then Rama alone is the reality. हुई हैं सुफल आज ममलोचन, देखी बदन पंकज भव मोचन, निर्भर प्रेम मगन मुनि ज्ञानी, कहीं न जाई सो दशा भवानी. And he is mentally visualizing that I will be able to see the moon-like face of Rama that removes the cycle of birth and death. The purpose of vision will be fulfilled. The Ramayana is being presented by Lord Shiva to Devi Parvati. So Shiva says, O Bhavani, O Parvati Devi, this Sutikshana, the best aspirant, was internally diving into devotion. His condition, his internal ecstasy cannot be described. दिसु अरु विसुषु पंथ नहीं सूझा, कहाँ मैं चलूं कहाँ नहीं बूझा, कबहूँ के फिरी पाछे पुनि आई पुनि जाई, कबहूँ के नृत्य करई गुण गाई. Different directions, different angles of your movement. When you move, either you go to the east, west, south, north, or in between the angles between north and south. And so forth. This is a state of ecstasy. He is unaware of all these variations that exist in the practical world. And he doesn't know, where am I going? Who am I? Where am I going? He looks back and then turns forward, singing the glory of God. He dances as he moves. It is not to be adopted literally, you see. This is an internal happiness of ecstasy that begins to overpower your life. अबिरल प्रेम भगति मुनि पाई, प्रभु देखें अरु तो कोट लुकाई, अतिशय प्रीति देखी रघुबीरा, प्रगटे हृदय हरन भव बीरा. This profound love of Sage Tulsidas, Lord Rama was enjoying it from behind the trees. And realizing him to be such a great devotee, Lord Rama appeared in the heart of Sutikshana. मुनि मग माझ मछल हुई वैसा, पुलक शरीर पनस फल जैसा, तब रघुनाथ निकट चली आए, देखी दशा निज जन मन भाए। मुनि Sutikshna suddenly sat down in a steady pose. Experiencing horripilation all over his body. And Lord Rama came closer to him. Having darshan of Rama, he was extremely delighted. Munhi Ram bahu bhanti jagava, jagra dhyana janit sukha pava. Rama started awakening the sage from his ecstasy. But he was so involved and engrossed that he couldn't be awakened. Bhupa Rupa Tab Ram Durava, Hridaya Chaturbhuj Rupa Dekhava. In his heart he had installed Rama's Sagun Sakar form. And that Rama withdrew that form and appeared in the form of Lord Vishnu, four-armed God. Muni akulai utha tab kaise, bikalahin mani phani var jaise. But compared to what God he had enshrined in the beginning, that was Rama Sagun Sakar, indicating the absolute Brahman. And now, when Rama by his playful trick withdrew that form and created Vishnu, it was a kind of a test for him. Because Vishnu was not his deity. Implying Vishnu relates to Sagbud Sakar viewed through a conditioned mind. That is perfectly in order for an aspirant. But to stay only at Sagun Sakar level, that's not the goal. The goal is to go beyond. So therefore, Muni was not so happy when Rama's form moved away and Vishnu's form appeared. And as he opened his eyes, he saw Rama before him. Just like a snake, a mythical snake that becomes restless by losing the money, the jewel that exists in its hood. All that is simply allegorical. As he opened his eyes, he sees Rama along with Lakshmana and Sita. Shyam Sundar, Rama, swarthy complexion, the abode of all happiness. Paregu lakut iva charanani lagi, prema magan muni bara bara bhagi. Just as a stick falls straight, he fell at the feet of Rama. And Sri Rama, with his long arms, lifted him up and folded him in his arms. Munihi milat asaho soyi kripala, kanak taruhi janu bhet marala. In this state, as Rama keeps him enfolded in his arms, allegorically appear like a tree that is golden is being wrapped by tamala creeper. Tamala creeper is of a different color. But both the tree and entwined by that creeper looks wonderful. Similarly, Rama embracing, enfolding Sutikshna appeared in a most wonderful way. Ram Badanu Biloka Muni Tadha Manahu Chitra Maja Likhi Kadha. Sage Sutikshna continued to look at Rama without winking. And became like a painted picture. Tab muni hridaya dheer dhari, kahi pad barahi bar, nij ashram prabhu ani kari, puja vividha prakar. Summoning up a strength in his heart, he touched the lotus feet of Rama again and again. And he led Rama, Lakshmana, Sita to his ashram and performed various types of worship. Kahamuni Prabhu suni binati mori, astuti karao kavan vidhi tori. Sutikshna said, O Lord, listen to my prayer. How can I describe your glory? Your glory is limitless. My intellect is limited. I am like a glowworm, and you are like this shining sun. How can a glowworm describe the glory of the sun? Shyama tama rasadam shariram, jata mukuta paridhanamuni dhiram, pani chapa shara Katitu Niram Nomi Nirantar Shri Raghubiram. You are decked with matted locks. You are wearing the dress of sages and saints, ascetics. You are holding bow and arrow in your hands. I am offering my adorations again and again. Moha vipin banodhan krishanu sant sarorva kanana bhanu nishichar kari baruta mirgaraja tratu sada no bhavakhaga baja. You are like fire for burning up the forest of moha. All these prayers are giving you deep insight into how to pray to God, how to create internal affirmation of God's presence within your own personality. That God is like fire for burning the forest of moha. Every soul is wandering, lost in a dense forest of delusional attachment. That's called moha. And the God within destroys that forest of delusion. And for letting the blossoms of lotuses to bloom. Lotuses here symbolizing saintly personalities. For saints, God is the shining sun. Saints are lotuses. And the lotuses that open their petals inspired by sun's presence. And you are like a lion for scattering the herd of elephants in the form of demons. And you are like a hawk for destroying the cycle of birth and death. O Lord, may you protect me. Arunanayan Rajiva Suvesham Sita Nayan Chakora Nishesham Har Har Hridi Manasam Balak Maralam Naumi Ram Urbavu Vishalam. O Lord, with reddish eyes, beautiful person, handsome personality, you who are profoundly loved by Sita. Sita is like the chakora bird, and you are the moon. You are like a swan in the lake of Lord Shiva's heart. The heart of Lord Shiva is a Manas Sarovar, a Manasa lake. And Rama in it is like a swan. Magnanimous hearted and with long arms. God's arms reach everywhere. I offer adorations to you. Sanshaya sarp grasan urgada, shaman sukarkash tarka vishada, bhavavanjan ranjana sur yutha, tratu sadano kripa varutha. For destroying the snakes of doubts, you are like Garuda bird. The Garuda bird picks up snakes and destroys them. Your presence picks up sanshayas, doubts, and destroys them. Human mind is so debilitated because of lack of faith, being full of doubts. But bhakti towards Rama, offering prayer to Rama, removes those sanshayas, those doubting sentiments of your mind. And you are the destroyer of vishad, sentiments that create depression in your mind. You are remover of cycle of birth and death, and the delighter of gods. By gods imply divine virtues. O Rama, the abode of grace, protect us. And with this I will conclude for today. Om. Om. Ram, 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 Ram. Ram, Ram, Ram. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Prayer for shower of Karunamaya Restless grace of God over all of you with the blessings of Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukum Vabandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.